The cursor blinked on the final line of the gateway protocol. I had just opened the secure window to transmit the last layer of biometric confirmation for a $100 million defense contract, a deal that took 9 months, 4 international trips, and 3 all-nighters to secure. Then the door opened. Gregory Carrington, the CEO himself, walked in without knocking. He wasn't alone. Behind him was a young woman in a powder blue pantsuit, clutching a tablet like it was a trophy. She looked barely old enough to rent a car. "Olivia," Gregory said too casually, "this won't take long." I straightened up in my chair. "What is it?" He gave a strange smile. "We're initiating a leadership transition effective immediately." I blinked, confused. "Immediately? I'm retiring at 5 today. I just need to... You've done more than enough." He interrupted, motioning toward the woman behind him. "This is Chloe. She'll be taking it from here, my niece." His niece. I turned my head slowly toward her. She gave me a wide, eager smile and reached out her hand like we were old friends, meeting at brunch. "I've been shadowing digital strategy upstairs," she said brightly. "This is such an honor." I didn't move. The secure window was still open on my monitor. The cursor, still blinking, sat patiently next to the line that read "Final voice verification required." Gregory cleared his throat. "Security will help with the transition. Your belongings will be sent to your residence." My mouth opened, but no sound came out. 28 years. 28 years I had given to this company. I had drafted that contract, built the client relationship from the ground up, and just 3 weeks ago I was asked to personally oversee the final stage, and now I was being replaced mid-shift by a niece in designer heels who'd never met the client. As I stood up, my chair still warm, I glanced once more at the screen. The system waited for me. It wouldn't respond to anyone else. But Gregory didn't know that. Not yet. "Congratulations, Chloe," I said, finally taking her hand. "I hope you know what you're walking into." Her grip tightened slightly, but her smile never wavered. I logged out without closing the system. Then I turned, picked up my blazer, and walked out without looking back. The cursor kept blinking behind me, waiting. I hadn't expected a parade, but I thought maybe a card, something simple, a handshake, a nod in the hallway, maybe a "Thank you, Olivia." But as I stood in front of my desk, the one I'd sat at for nearly 3 decades, I realized the goodbye had already happened and I hadn't been invited. The floor was quieter than usual, which was saying something. No one made eye contact. Most of the junior staff pretended to be on calls, typing frantically into keyboards that weren't even on. The same people who once came to me for advice now couldn't lift their heads. I opened the top drawer of my desk, the one that had held my favorite pens, emergency Tylenol, and an old photo of our first executive team. There were only a few things worth taking. Now the rest they could've. I pulled out a worn leather notebook filled with client notes from over the years. Some names were no longer in business. Others I'd helped grow from startup to global enterprise. Names Chloe had never heard of, names Gregory had long forgotten. A cardboard box was already sitting by my chair. The office manager must have dropped it off while I was still in the meeting with Gregory. Efficient. Cold, no bow, no label. I moved through the motions, pulling books, files, a framed certificate from a procurement conference in Zurich, when I noticed something. My nameplate was gone. On the glass wall outside my office, where it once read "Olivia Meyer, Senior Director of Strategic Contracts," a new placard had already been mounted. "Chloe Carrington, Director, Emerging Ventures." Emerging Ventures. They'd erased 28 years of service in one afternoon and slapped a title on it that sounded like an unpaid internship. I didn't cry, I didn't yell. I sat down one last time in my chair and stared at the monitor. I logged in using my admin credentials and pulled up the master directory. I deleted nothing that would hurt the company, but I did clear out every personal document, old memo, and training material I'd ever written. The only thing I left untouched was a small silent program buried deep in the system gateway final. It looked like a basic script, harmless, forgettable, but it housed the biometric encryption needed to trigger the final payment release on the $000 million deal. It couldn't be accessed remotely, it couldn't be overridden, and it couldn't be recoded without a full system teardown. Only one person could use it properly, me. As I shut down the screen, a ping echoed in the room, an alert from my now disconnected company email, which I'd forgotten to close. Subject: Congrats to Chloe. Sender: execcoms@carrington.com. Please join us in congratulating Chloe Carrington on her promotion to Director of Emerging Ventures. Her fresh energy and vision will lead Carrington into its next era of innovation. They'd sent it to me by mistake. For a brief second I imagined responding something short, something venomous, but I closed the tab instead. What would I say? That I'd given them my best years while Chloe walked in with her last name and a LinkedIn account. sealed the box shut and stood up burr. Y heels echoed across the floor as I walked out, each step heavier than the last burr. Oh, one stopped me. No one said goodbye burr. Bitterness burned in my throat, but I swallowed it down burr. Et them cheer for Clover. Hey had no idea what they just locked themselves out of burr. If you want, I can burr.